Hello everyone. The previous video, we looked at how Atom's features like telemetry and analytics brings network awareness. We also saw how assurance as a feature ensures network availability. Let's take a look at two more features in this video. Let's get started. Workflow automation. Network administrators have a hectic job. They have both planned and unplanned activities to take care in their network. Imagine how a bank used to work earlier. If you had to take money, you had to stand in queues, fill up forms, and present it to the teller and get the cash. And sometimes even meet bank managers for loan approvals, which take time. Quite a hassle, isn't it? Admins have to go through a similar exercise in provisioning the networks. For every activity network admins perform, they follow a written set of procedures called MOPs or method of procedures. The method of procedures will include steps on how to perform an activity, along with all the approvals that network admins must take at different stages. The approval process is all manual through emails and messages, and there's always delay depending on the approval authority's availability and the availability of network admins when the approval finally comes in. In our analogy, the advent of ATMs reduces strain involved in old school banking. You can now take money, apply for loans through ATMs, which get approved in minimal time, and deposit money through ATM, and much more. Similarly, Atom's workflow automation can automate the entire method of procedures that a network admin follows to perform the activities. The workflow is like a flow chart we had learned in the school days. Each block in the flow chart is an automation of the steps in the method of procedures we just discussed. In the diagram shown, when Atom is introduced into the network admin now has to just trigger the workflow, either directly from the Atom GUI or use any of the operational tools they have in the network. The operational tools will talk to Atom and trigger the workflow, just like how shopping sites talk to the bank websites for payment. In our diagram, the network admin is trying to automate a creation of ACLs on the firewall. The workflow will immediately connect to the firewalls and perform pre-checks to see if there are any conflicts in the firewall definitions that will reject the configurations, and if any, it will report back to the admin. If the pre-checks are clear, it triggers an approval chain and can alert the security team. The approvals, if integrated to service management tools, can trigger an alert on the authority smartphones, enabling them to give approvals on the go. The workflow will wait for the approvals using a timer, and once received, it proceeds with the next step in the flowchart. Similar approvals can happen after the configuration is generated by Atom if required. And once done, the workflow will apply the configurations to the firewall, and this could again be on a multi-vendor infrastructure. Finally, the workflow will proceed with post-checks and then alert the admin that the provisioning was successful. This was a simple example that we have showcased here to automate a configuration through workflow. This feature benefits a lot if there are complex method of procedures to be implemented by the network admins. Multi-tenancy. Service providers serve many enterprises and help them with the branch office connectivity through their network. Each business is critical and have their own networks and devices. There needs to be a definite isolation between these businesses at the service provider level. This isolation can be brought in using the multi-tenancy feature on Atom. In our analogy here, a 3-storied building has been rented out to 3 different tenants. The resources in the building, like electricity and water, reach each of the tenants through separate connections, providing the needed isolation. Similarly, Atom's multi-tenancy feature helps with this much-needed isolation between the different enterprise networks. Each tenant will have a different view on the Atom UI and cannot see the network of the other businesses that the service providers are serving. Atom also provides differentiated user privileges, like in the case of a Windows machine. In Windows, you can have administrators who have more privileges than a general user. The same can be achieved in Atom using the role-based access control feature. Let's take a quick recap on what we have discussed so far. We discussed how Atom's workflow automation is used to automate complex day-to-day method of procedures. We also saw how approval processes can be built into this workflow. And finally, how Atom's multi-tenancy feature helps service providers to have isolation between the different enterprise networks they serve. Thanks for watching.